Brent contacts Gail. This is the bridge story from where we left off in the Gail series in 2002 to where we pick up in 2011. Brent contacts Gail. It was January 2011, and the man who managed my website, therealbrentspiner.com, informed me that a strange woman who was Gail tried to send me a message through my website, and that he informed Gail to respect my relationship with Lori McBride. My jaw dropped in disgust. This charade Jesuits forced me into was really getting to me. The woman I dreamed about 24/7 was Gail, not the Jesuit snake Lori McBride. Lori's intrusion into my beautiful emerald dreams of Gail dumped vomit on the flower of Gail in my life. I was constantly removing the vomit to see Gail's light and let her emerald shimmers infuse my heart. Now, 20 years after my dreams of Gail's mountaintop began, Gail started a YouTube channel in January 2011. I could feel my heart race with excitement. I eagerly awaited any video she posted and was so glad to see our shimmering mountain going public. The truth of our mountaintop was getting out. To hell with fame. To hell with stardom. There was more to life than fame and money. A life without beauty of soul and without sublime dreams was a dark existence filled with scorpions and vipers raging through all my innermost corridors. Without my dreams of Gail, all I'd have would be a stumble through dark corridors with Lori's strychnine stabbing violence into my paradise. Gail shared my dreams and longings and lightened the darkness with her emerald shimmers of light. Lori's terrors made me scramble for the nearest exit, horrified that I had somehow been used to betray Gail's shimmering emerald that had soared me to paradise. While Lori's volcano spewed vomit and feces over me, I could still feel Gail's emeralds in my life. Gail, who refused to give up her shimmering mountain, kept me from suicide. I concluded that if the price paid for security and conformity sex was the loss of my dreams and the loss of that shimmering mountain, and if such security forced me to live in the vulgar and lust deserts, parched with bitterness, cold, and desolate fury, it would be better to be annihilated. Gail got a taste of my mountaintop dreams of her when she heard me sing to her in my album Old Yellow Eyes is Back in 1991. And though Lori caused her to lose faith in our shimmering mountain and temporarily convinced Gail that I was vulgar and mundane and just some status and security-obsessed celebrity who allowed an outwardly beautiful vase composed of disgusting lava, Lori, to replace sublimity, Gail reclaimed her shimmering mountaintop with me when Jesus spoke to her in December 1999 and told her in prayer that Lori was a Vatican agent. At that point, to Gail, I had become a heroic Christ-like martyr who endured Lori only to preserve our shimmering mountain, for Gail realized that for me, there was no other way to keep that paradise in my life. I presumed it was Gail's brilliance that figured it out. Gail then reclaimed her mountaintop in me when Jesus told her that Lori was a Vatican agent in December 1999, and courageously abandoned her security and reputation to launch out in blazes into her heavenly dreams with me. The Jesuits and Lori then launched a tidal wave against me and Gail, attempting to annihilate our shimmering mountain and drown it with feces of proud fury. But our mountain still shimmered, and we slugged through the feces of lava pride to reach the pinnacle of our mountain. Gail surmised that I only had Lori to protect Gail, and that Lori used death threats to maintain her proud feces mountain with me, in an attempt to replace our shimmering mountain with her proud feces mountain. If I wouldn't claim that the proud feces mountain was the shimmering mountain in my life, Lori's mountain threatened to blast a volcano of feces all over our shimmering mountain to drown all its jewels into oblivion. But I refuse to claim that a feces mountain was the shimmering mountain I had with Gail, or that feces could replace Gail's jewels. Gail perceived the iron-willed determination of my heart, and the dreams of her heart fused with those in mine, so that Gail refused to surrender our shimmering mountain to the Jesuit feces mountain from hell, and Gail refused to believe the fiction she heard about me from the lying Jesuit-controlled media. For this, she was labeled as crazy. My courageous and tenacious dreamer was treated like common scum. Now it was 2011, and Gail was now telling the world the truth about our rare emerald pinnacles and about her marriage list of men at her new YouTube channel. This was stuff she only knew about through brain-to-brain communications. It would be so easy for her to shut up, for fear that all would say she was nuts. Gail and I had been regular lovers in the brain-to-brain communications since February 2006, and Gail refused to give up her mountaintop dreams, even if our relationship was very strange by most standards, in that we had no direct communication. And now Gail dared to let the world know about our brain-to-brain relationship that was apparently as important to her as a regular relationship done the normal way. She tenaciously held on to her dreams, as did I. In fact, Gail hadn't heard from me directly since about 1993, when I last talked to her on the phone. How I admired Gail's perseverance and her refusal to give up her dreams of me. I had to show her that I was real, especially after she was taunted and scorned for exposing our diamonds to the scum, that I was just more than some divine thought that spoke to her brain and fed her fantasies of emerald grandeur with me. The only way Gail could communicate with me was through the brain-to-brain, which used mind-reading technology to put my thoughts into Gail's brain and her thoughts into mine. Despite the poverty she suffered after her divorce in 2001 from that awful cold man she had named David Schuler, where she couldn't afford the internet for many years, she finally got the internet in 2010. Gail never talked about Lori much with me brain-to-brain after 2001, and it appears she believed that Lori had died in 2001. Oh, if only that was the case. Once Gail got the internet in 2010 and realized Lori was alive and well, she learned that Lori hadn't died. In fact, Lori even claimed to have had our child together. Our 20-year shimmering mountaintop had been desecrated with feces from top to bottom. Now Gail courageously created a YouTube channel in January 2011 to vindicate and shine our emerald shimmers to the world. Our mountaintop relationship had survived the scourges of hell since 1990, and Gail wanted to remove the feces from the jewels and let them shine for all the world to see. Gail's tenacity to honor the paradise she found with me, even if only in her dreams, impressed me beyond measure. With each YouTube video she posted, my desire to taste those emeralds and make them real in my life grew each day. It just irked me that the woman who infused me with dreams of grandeur was barred by threat of death into making those dreams a reality other than this illusory brain-to-brain. It was 6 months after Gail started her YouTube channel, June 2011. Seeing Gail at YouTube was like I could reach out and touch those emerald sparkles. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to contact her, even though I knew that by doing so, I would probably unleash the hordes of hell from Lori McBride and her Jesuit order. Gail told me in the brain-to-brain in 2010 when she got the internet and learned that Lori was still alive and even had my son, that she believed the Jesuits used some sort of cloning technology to accomplish my son Jackson, and knew that his coming into existence was a total Jesuit idea and creation. A way to ensure our shimmering mountain displayed Lori's proud feces with grandeur, with Lori's feces parading as our jewels, simply because they covered our jewels and had the same shape. Gail perceived that Lori used Gail's jewels to gain entrance to my life and then claimed to be those jewels that brought me to paradise. It was time for everyone to know the difference between jewels and the feces that covered them. So I decided to start a YouTube channel just for my Emerald Gail that I named The Real Brent Spiner, and commented underneath a YouTube video Gail posted on June 7, 2011, where Gail did a comedy take on being my brain-to-brain lover. Dressed in a red outfit, Gail wore her hair loose and crazy for comedic effect with a long purple fake pearl necklace that she twisted around with a huge grin. She wore her rimless prescription glasses and played some parts of my album Dreamland in the background. I leaned forward in my chair inside my room at my Malibu mansion and absorbed my emerald. It seemed when I saw her that she played in my bedroom and danced upon my bed, and that her sparkles floated about me. I mentioned in my video called A Wiretap Conversation, May 1991, Brent Spiner, I want to rape you that I have a sense of humor. My Emerald Gail grinned with mischief. I'm going to let you scan a little bit of my sense of humor now. Flippant and casual, she grinned with a huge smile. From a review of my book Silver Skies at Amazon.com, here's what somebody wrote as a review from my book. I doubt that many people will stumble upon this book or read this review, but if you make it this far, I'm not even kidding. Google this woman, Gabrielle Chana. She is completely psychotic, and in an ideal scenario, she would be medicated, or at the very least, Brent Spiner warned that he has a crazy stalker. And Matthew McConaughey told that she is using his likeness on a book cover and professes to have brain-to-brain sex with all of them on a regular basis. Don't warn Putin, though. The Russians might try to utilize her for psychological warfare. Gail donned a big grin. My answer. In the comment section underneath this review at Amazon.com for my novel Silver Skies, Gail took on a very snobby, comical approach, acting disinterested and apathetic. Regarding my brain-to-brain loving with Matthew McConaughey, Hugh Jackman, Brent Spiner, Vladimir Putin, she pulled up a colorful bag with Matthew's sexiest man alive photo attached with a huge brown hair clip and pointed at Matthew's photo. Poor Matthew, Hugh, and Vladimir. She then pointed at a photo of me from my album Oh Yellow Eyes Is Back. Brent, he gets 95% of my attention. Then she pointed to Matthew with a casual flick of her finger. I only go to Matthew, Hugh, and Vladimir when Brent tells me to. She then donned a comical grin, though Vladimir gets the other 5% of my attention. Her fingers pulled up her necklace and modeled it with a huge grin. You guys like my necklace? Gail nodded her head with a big smile, and with a comic guilt trip reluctantly admitted the truth. Hugh and Matthew are horribly neglected. She then casually changed the subject as if what she discussed was rather boring. Actually, what Gail and I had was such sublimity, it's understandable that everything else paled in comparison. Anyways, I answered this guy at his review. He said in the review that I have brain-to-brain sex with all of those men on a regular basis. Acting guilty, she smiled and looked at her audience ruefully. I hate to inform you that Brent Spiner gets about 95% of my attention. She then pointed to Matthew's picture as sexiest man alive, acting really guilty. And he's, Matthew, not getting very much. And then she pointed to my picture, and he's my favorite. She then became flippant and casual. Vladimir Putin gets 5% because he deserves some time. Gail made another casual and flippant expression and squished her eyes comically. Hugh Jackman and Matthew McConaughey. Well, I'm sorry, Matthew. She looked at Matthew's picture, waving her hand, acting guilty, but her big smile indicated she really didn't feel guilty about me as the one who consumed her dreams. Brent's my favorite. I apologize. What can I say, okay? What can I say? My song from Dreamland played in the background. To know you is to love you. I saw in her teasing eyes glimpses of our shimmering mountain in her heart. a mountain that she and I refused to give up. I ran to my computer to finally make that paradise real. So I created my YouTube channel for her around June 26, 2011, and tried to communicate with her at her YouTube channel. I could literally feel the jewels shimmering in my hands. I nervously stared over my shoulder to ensure Feces Laurie was not around. Memories of Laurie's death threats against Gail if I dared try to contact Gail floated like a feces volcano through my mind now. However, Gail never noticed until July 8, 2011, about 2 weeks after I commented at her YouTube channel, that I had commented underneath her comedy video. After not hearing from me directly since the 1990s, it was understandable that she was apparently content to live in dreamland forever, as was I, but hey, if we could bask and drown in our shimmers and feel them run through our fingers. In fact, I noticed Gail blocked a lot of commentators, so it was like I was shooting at the moon. But she read my comment and noticed that I sent her a friend request, and she answered yes. Gail recognized that the spirit that came from my comments was her fellow dreamer who soared the mountaintops with her. She even made a YouTube video on July 10, 2011 to let the world know her dreamer contacted her. "I don't check my YouTube messages very often," she wrote to me on July 8th when she finally noticed I had commented at her YouTube channel. "Sorry about the slow response, but then we communicate other ways as well." She meant our brain-to-brain, where we savored our shimmers in some sort of ethereal dreamland. "You're the best," she said. This sounded like how she was with me in the brain-to-brain, where she treated me like her mountaintop lover. If I don't check this too often, please realize that I'm not very good with YouTube. I don't think my YouTube videos are too hot, but they're fun. I like your Fresh Hell videos a lot better. You're better at this than me. However, I think you'd love my comedy video about being a brain-to-brain lover. I did pretty good at comedy, I think. I agreed that she made a cute comedy video where she teased the world with glimpses into our shimmering mountain. "Oh my God, I can't stop laughing," she wrote in response to me on July 9th, 2011. "Oh my God, you are hilarious. I checked out your recent activity on your YouTube channel. I can't stop laughing. Ha! I don't think that joke about the pussy was aimed at me because I'm skinny. I've decided to check your YouTube channel often and have a link to it on my website's front page. I don't think you're trying to win friends and influence people with your latest recent activity. Bit of a perverse sense of humor. But then, it doesn't appear that most people even know about your YouTube channel. 16 views. And I suspect you like this. Brent, my dear, you need to behave yourself. My joke to you, but I love your guts." Interacting with Gail like this was like her sparkles drowned me with pleasure in my bed, making that snake Laurie seem to fade away into oblivion. I wanted more delightful sparkles. On July 11, 2011, I dared to write her again. "Hello. Your suspicions that I did not want many people viewing my page were correct. I was thinking that because I haven't posted videos on here with my face or voice, that people would think it is just a fan page. I thought that would be a good idea for us to communicate somewhat secretively, but it appears that someone is already on to me. Yeah, some Jesuit, apparently, was making comments at my new YouTube channel for Gail, and they seem to be flicking a lot of Jesuit feces in my direction. Anyway, I'm very busy at the moment. We will have to continue this conversation at a later time. Yours truly, Brent Spiner." Gail responded at once, jumping at the chance to make our mountain real. "My God, you are so brave. Thank you for your kind comments. I'm committed to you, even if I can never be with you in a normal relationship. I made up my mind about that a long time ago, and you are right. What we have is very unusual." Apparently, my brain-to-brain communications to her were coming through loud and clear. And I won't settle for anything less in my love life, even if it means that I can't have a normal man-woman relationship with you, because what we have is truly unusual. You have my utmost respect and have had that for years. I love you, and I think you know it. Yep, I knew this about her, that she refused to give up her mountaintop with me. The Jesuits had already dug their fangs into her life, but she tenaciously refused to live anywhere other than our shimmering mountain, even if the pinnacle was out of reach. Indeed, you are correct, I reassured her. I don't wish to have many people know about this channel. I would go to the ends of the earth to protect you, my dear. I was a little nervous about what Jesuits planned in reaction to my daring as I swooned in Gail's sparkles. I do not worry about what a few childish internet goons think of me. I invite them to say what they will. I am not afraid of their words, and neither should you be. They are either jealous or in disbelief that anyone on this planet could share the truly rare kind of love that you and I have. My eyes just feasted on Gail in her videos, reacting to me contacting her for real. My directly contacting her seemed to have brought a new soft glow in her eyes. What a feast this was to my eyes! I was soaring on the pinnacle of our Mount Everest and scaling the heights, like all her emerald shimmers adorned my existence right here in my bed. I adore seeing you so happy in your latest video. I hope that I will be seeing more soon. Only yours, Brent Spiner. My excitement mounted, seeing Gail respond to me even more, and I dared to write her more only a day later on July 12, 2011. Good afternoon. Wonderful videos as always, Gabrielle. As to your first video message, I know I could take my time, but it is difficult not to, although I probably should. That last Jesuit attack gave me a startle, and I can already feel the tensions growing around us. But I'm not going to let that scare me away from finally writing to you so directly like this. I paused to consider and looked over my shoulder for Lori McBride. I was just dying to see more of Gail and dying to reach the summit with her. Fearlessness should not cross with foolishness, however. And as for right now, I think it is best I keep my communications to you only brain to brain and through the written word. Should the Jesuits get too close and try to do something terrible, I can always claim that this channel was a fabrication and throw them off the scent. Whereas if there were any videos of us face to face, it could be truly devastating. I know we are both excited, but we must tread carefully, my dear. The world is not a safe place for you and I, and we can't forget that. What we are doing even now is dangerous, and I won't risk losing what we already have. Even as I write to you now, I have to watch my back. At any moment, a Jesuit could seize my internet or hack into my computer, and this could all be for naught. All right, I was going to go for it. I just had to reach the pinnacle with Gail. I must admit, I rather enjoy seeing you make public videos about me. The fact that you are able to bear yourself open in front of everyone and tell the entire world how much you love me, something I wish I could desperately do for you, shows so much courage and sincerity in your feelings. Although I enjoy our personal intimacy throughout the days and nights, sometimes I wish we didn't have to be so secret. I know you don't like to be in the spotlight, and you are a very discreet woman. So if you would like to send me the occasional private video, I would be more than happy for that. I wouldn't like you to stop posting videos to your public channel, however. What can I say? I'm a spoiled boy. I want it all. I could sense Gail's feelings brain to brain, and as our bodies merged in the brain to brain, it seemed I could literally feel her flesh on mine, just by making contact with her more directly now. On to other matters. I had a very vivid dream about you last night. It's been on my mind all day and has inspired a very special video request to make it come to life. As you probably know, most men are very visual, and I am no different. I will just come out and say it. I was wondering if I could get a video of the spicier variety from you. Your workout video was adorable, but this time I want to see you in your nightwear, in bed if possible. Maybe with a few candles lit, playing one of my songs for you. If there's anything more you could add to the scene, I think my jaw would be on the floor. I'd be excited to see you use your creativity. I just want to see you and be able to do more than just imagine what it would be like if I was there in your bedroom with you physically. I want to see you with my eyes and hear you with my ears. I know the public may not see me as the romantic type, but I know you know me much better than that. I would be hopelessly floored to come home and see you in the bed, full out ambience and lighting and everything I could possibly dream of, like something out of a movie made real. I chuckled to myself, hoping Gail would not back off and think me a pervert. I apologize. I bet those cheeks are blushing. I know you are rather discreet about your sensuality, and I would never pressure you to do anything you wouldn't like to. If you wish, you can simply bat my hand away from the proverbial cookie jar. But I figure it couldn't hurt this naughty boy to ask. Your sometimes bad boy, Brent Spiner. I peeked through the spy cameras we had in Gail's apartment, dying to see her reaction to my request. Her eyes were glued to all my letters to her, and she broke out in peals of laughter upon reading my request. I relaxed with relief. She saw my physical desires as just shimmers from the jewels of our relationship, and not as disgusting feces. I agree that things are dangerous for us, she wrote, typing away on her computer. It's awesome we've gotten this far. I never expected it. You are clever. I promise there will be some video for you. It's my way of being your wife. I love our intimate moments. That's all I live for. She paused as if musing over a response to my daring. I don't have any candles. I'm too scared of fire. But I'll think of something. Don't forget I'm half Japanese. The Japanese don't have sexual hang-ups. I really don't think you've had much of a sex life, except for our brain-to-brain sessions, because I really believe you've been loyal to me. I feel bad for you, but then I think our brain-to-brain sessions give you some satisfaction. You'll get something from me. Sex is important in a relationship. I really believe that you can tell what a person is like by how they are in bed, and you are awesome in bed. Licking my chops in anticipation, I created an email on July 12, 2011, just for her, and gave it to her in case the Jesuits shut down my YouTube channel for her. I just wanted to let you in on a new email I created for you and I to correspond with. Rest assured that it is my private email, and nobody else but you has been informed. You won't have to worry about any public associates of mine destroying your messages or forging my name, as they have done so in the past. I just want you to have it as a backup should the Jesuits ever cease or take over this channel. One can never be too cautious. Missing you dearly, Brent Spiner. I know you love me, and I remember when you called me on the telephone how exciting you were back in 1991, she said in her public video response for me. I used to dream about making love to you all day. Gail, in her public video response to me, moved her lithe and slim body about with a lace canopy draped over her shoulders that she flung about with feeling, wearing silk-like orange-pink pajamas over bra and underwear, giving me luscious peeks into her bare form. Her private version gave me a bit more of a glimpse of her underwear and bra, and she put on instrumental music from the romantic fantasy music Somewhere in Time that she omitted from the public version for fear of a copyright strike. Her YouTube video description underneath her public video said it all. Brent wanted a video from me that expresses the intimacy we feel for each other. Yes, I am a born-again Christian, but I was not raised in a Christian home, but raised by a Japanese mother. I have the Japanese attitude towards sexuality. The person who communicates with me through his YouTube channel has a very intimate knowledge of me that only Brent Spiner could have. But Brent and I are both worried about the Jesuits and agree that we must limit our communications and meetings to brain-to-brain communications and via the written word through email or my YouTube channel. Brent obviously does not think I'm a crazy stalker, or he wouldn't leave me a personal email to contact him. Brent has warned me that if the Jesuits do something catastrophic to us, he may have to act like the YouTube communications he makes with me are fabrications and not from him. I do not expect Brent to meet me face-to-face in a normal relationship anytime in the near future because of the dangers involved due to Jesuit obsession over Brent's love for me. And Brent stated that this would probably be the case. However, he stated that though he finds our brain-to-brain loving satisfying, it's not the same as having my physical presence and hearing my voice, so I made him this video to try to compensate. He wanted me to make him a video like this to make our brain-to-brain loving seem more real, The Brent who communicates with me through his YouTube channel matches exactly the personality of the phone caller who talked to me from 1991 to 1993. I am convinced that the real Brent Spiner is communicating with me online. From the very beginning of our long-distance relationship, I've always given Brent all the space he needs, and I will continue to do so. I never pressure him to do anything. I understand the nature of our enemy, the Jesuits, and will respect whatever Brent wants to do. The Jesuits have already launched an attack on Brent's YouTube channel towards us, and Brent says that he's still reeling from it. Both Brent and I sense the Jesuit noose tightening around us because he dared to strike a communication with me. Her last words summarized what I knew to be true about her tenacious determination to remain forever on our shimmering mountain. My brave Brent, I will stand by you for the rest of my life, even if I can only have brain-to-brain communication with you. The love between us is so unusual I can settle for nothing less in my love life. Perhaps I'm crazy to settle for this, instead of turning down all men who ask me out and who I could have a normal relationship with. But what I have with Brent is so unusual, this is what I want. There's no law that says I have to be married in the normal sense of the word. I'm happy with my love life as it is, and I'm not hurting anybody, so leave Brent and I alone. On July 13, 2011, I responded to Gail's videos for me. You have no idea how beautiful you are. My lady, you have me speechless. Excuse me while I climb back into my chair. Right now I feel like the luckiest man alive. I viewed both of your videos, including the private version you sent to my personal email. I can't decide what I like best, the tantalizing peek at your voluptuous breasts as you strip for me like a vixen, or your adorable girlish bashfulness in the public rendition for me on your channel. Hearing the warm, melting resonance of your singing was simply icing on the cake. More! Is it my birthday? I feel truly special. My Gabriella, sometimes I don't understand how you could be so shy of your sensuality. You are a breathtakingly gorgeous woman with such class and depth. Of course, I know from our brain-to-brain lovings that there's quite a bit more behind that shy schoolgirl persona you tried to portray in those devilishly teasing videos. You naughty girl, you. I can only hope that the Japanese side of you will come out to play more fearlessly in the future. Maybe not in public, but in private. Well, you know how to reach me. Even though I can only have you brain to brain, and through these amazing videos you make for me, I feel truly blessed to have a woman like you in my life. They say 90% of sex is all mental anyway, and baby, you give me 9,001%. How many other husbands out there have timelessly beautiful women that are devoted and adventurous enough to make them sexy videos? Even after all these years, the passion within your soul is still so powerful for me, and you show me every day that you would do anything to bring me happiness and pleasure. You're every man's dream. Oh boy, have you got me riled up like a colt. I will bite my tongue now. Thank you so much again and again for doing this for me. I know it's because you love me, my dear, but I'll never stop expressing my gratitude for everything you do to show me you care. I appreciate you, and I love you. Your man, Brent Spiner. Oh, you are so sexy, Gail responded while moving with renewed passion in our brain-to-brain moves. I have to admit, I haven't gotten a lot done today. Shame on you for doing this to me. Our brain-to-brain loving has just been too interesting. Yeah, I know I've got you riled up like a colt. That's why I haven't gotten anything done today. But then you did this to me back in 1991 with your sexy phone calls to me. But I don't think you knew it back then because I was scared to let you know. I just want to let you know that I've posted some of what you've said about me in my written description under my video about you as a brain-to-brain lover. If you want me to remove this, I will. She seemed hesitant about going public about us, but I feel that by posting this, it will help us both out. As you know, the Jesuits have tried to portray me as crazy, claiming that you've never contacted me and that you don't even know of my existence, and I know you don't like this. Unfortunately, this kind of propaganda against me makes it easier for the Jesuits to harm me and frame it on you, so I thought it would be good strategy to post some of what you've said to me in your written communication to me, that it might help out our future together. I also did this to correct some fallacies about you in the public mind. I could tell that my contacting her validated our shimmering mountain and made quite an impression on her. I must say, I'm very impressed over your writing and the way you express yourself to me. I'm proud of you and want to display you to the world somewhat. But if you want me to remove this from my YouTube video entitled Brent Spiner as a Brain-to-Brain Lover, I will. I know if you object, it will only be to protect me, because you are very protective of me. I will honor whatever you want. If I had my wish, I'd just be your lover and forget law and all the other stuff I have to deal with. But I've faced my life with courage and I'm dealing with it, and I won't let our enemies destroy you or us. You are very good for me and relax me. I often fall asleep imagining you in my arms. We have such an awesome relationship. Love you, Gabrielle. It was July 14, 2011, and already my love life with Gail seemed more real, more than just a beautiful phantom of my imagination. My dear Gabrielle, whatever you feel comfortable sharing with the world is just fine by me. I don't think you should ever be afraid or hold back. In fact, that brings me back to something I've wanted to suggest to you. Why don't you put back up the videos that you've removed in the past? Your workout video that I truly adore, your Nobel Prize acceptance speech, and the more recent video about our correspondences that you privatized. Those were all great videos. Be it as it may that some of those videos wound up on Jesuit sites, which is why you removed them, but why let that stop you? After all, Jesuits aren't the only people out there that may stumble across those sites. One thing Hollywood has taught me is this: good press is good press, bad press is good press. No matter where your story appears, if just one person out there with good in their hearts discovers it and is listening, they will start to ask questions. When people begin to ask questions, liberty is strengthened. Whenever you remove one of your videos or whenever you try to censor yourself, the Jesuits win. Freedom is squashed by the suppression of information. They know that by scaring you, they can get you to be quiet. So that's what they do. I think it's time to stop letting them. Be free with yourself, Gabrielle, and show them how powerful you are. They can't stand it. Do what you feel is right. No matter what, I will always be by your side. Your loving husband, Brent Spiner. On July 14, 2011, Gail put back up onto YouTube the videos that I suggested. I think you're right, she said. So I will put back up the two videos I removed. One about my brain-to-brain relationships with other famous men besides yourself. I didn't like what the Jesuits did with that video because they tried to portray me as some sort of whore. I know you don't feel that way about me, and to be honest, I think you're the best lover of them all. It's just that with Matthew, Hugh, and some of the others, I only did it because you or Vladimir asked me to. I well remember spring 2003, when Vladimir Putin started brain-to-brain sex with Gail. You see, after Jesuits soared those planes in the World Trade Center towers for September 11, 2001, to terrorize me for daring to fly to Florida to be with Gail about 2 weeks later, Gail had cut me off, deciding marriage to me was impossible and she needed a president. From September 11, 2001 until February 2006, Vladimir replaced me as her fantasy lover who consumed her days. She apparently decided to add other jewels to our shimmering mountain and invited them to play there, and they came. Gail soon learned that she and I were not the only courageous dreamers in the world. By the time 2003 rolled around, Vladimir, with his scientists using the satellites in space, invented brain-to-brain communications just so he could make love to Gail this way. Then she reinstated me fully in February 2006 and kind of forgot about Vladimir because it seemed to her that I was braver than him, and she considered me the most shimmering jewel on her mountain. This reinstatement was a real treat because I now got to do brain-to-brain loving and communications with her thanks to Vladimir. This brain-to-brain loving was even better than the wiretap I had on her phone in the 1990s. And as you know, Gail said to me on July 14, 2011, I have bonded with Vladimir, and poor Vladimir, like yourself, is a victim of the Jesuit-controlled press and has had to parade around with a fake wife for years just because he fell in love with me. But you get 98% of my time. I've bonded with you more than with any other. You and Vladimir are such big men, Gail wrote, and don't mind me sharing myself a bit with some other good men, like Matthew McConaughey and Hugh Jackman. Be that as it may, I still don't feel comfortable spreading myself around, even if it's only brain to brain, because, as you and I know, brain to brain is not sex, but it's close, very close. Though I could spy on Gail in her apartment through our cameras, interacting with her directly was a real treat. You've always been so supportive of me in everything I do, and have always had faith in me through the scourges of hell. I feel as lucky as you feel about me to have you in my life. I saw her musing about me in her apartment. We are so fortunate to have each other. This relationship I have with you is like a miracle from heaven. You're such a big person. Thanks for being you. The only thing that really matters to me are my relationships and my love life. The rest, the fame, the fortune, the glitter, if I get it, I could care less. And I have a great love life thanks to you, awesome Brent. I'm a happy woman. Love your wife, Gabrielle. It was July 15, 2011, and already it seemed that Gail wandered about my mansion, my wife for real. I only lived in a big house to keep feces Laurie as far away from me as possible and give me more space to run if I needed to escape Laura's lava filled with feces. Now that Gail and I were using real words and writing to merge our dreams, it seemed like feces Laurie didn't exist and that Laurie's feces had drifted away into oblivion. I was feeling so sublime and free to roam about jewel-studded corridors. I am so proud of you. You are a gutsy woman. I've always been in love with your persistence and your strength toward everything around you. Even when it seems you're up against the whole world, I hope that never changes about you. It seemed that Gail needed a breadth of experience with men unlike myself, and though I was a one-woman man, I wanted Gail to be true to her shimmering dreams however they wanted to shimmer. There is no shame in having a breadth of sensual, even if not fully sexual experiences with men. You are a desirable woman, and many women don't get the kind of opportunities that you do to indulge in such a wide variety of wild, romantic encounters with these men, much less many men at all. You are truly lucky. I would never want to restrict you from delving into these new experiences for yourself. It's obvious to anyone, lover or not, that I am your very most favorite. I don't fear the competition. I'm not jealous. To convince Gail of my absolute acceptance of who she really was, and that I so admired her shimmers regardless of how they wanted to shine, I wanted to assure her that I'd be content to share her shimmers with other jewels. Do be sure to let Vladimir know that he is still in your heart. I'm sure he may be feeling a little more than upstage now that we've achieved a direct two-way communication. Vladimir is the sweetest, most gentle, most manly man I have ever met, and I've been quite honored to share you with him. He is handsome, sexy, dominant, powerful, certainly the most desirable man any woman could ever want, except for me, of course. I feel he should know this. I could imagine Gail's reaction, but continued, determined to keep my emerald sparking with all her shimmers. Have you ever worn lingerie? I bet you're giggling. I am sorry, my dear. I'm just turned on again. I keep thinking about all the possibilities I can look forward to seeing in more of these private videos from you in the future. Maybe you can be wiggling and dancing to some sexy music for me in a G-string? I wonder if they have my face on a G-string somewhere. I will have to look into this. I'd wear it, wouldn't you? I was chuckling to myself. I am a tease. Thank you, my dear, for simply being you. Love, your husband, Brent Spiner. On July 15, 2011, I peeked through the spy cameras we had in Gail's apartment and saw her laughing so much it almost made her walls rock. Brent, thank you so much for your high opinion of Vladimir. I agree 100% with your assessment of him, and thank you for understanding that I can't cut him out of my life. Actually, I've talked to Vladimir brain to brain, and he's thrilled for us. He thinks that us getting together in this way may make it easier for him down the road to possibly have a more special friendship with me." Gail leaned her head on her chin as if musing. "By the way, if you have any women friends from your past that you want to continue to have in a meaningful way, I understand. I don't believe in caging my guy. Love thrives best in freedom." Nah, I was a one-woman man, but I didn't want to harp on this with Gail as she seemed otherwise, and I didn't want her to feel I judged her for the way she wanted to shimmer. I lapped up her words and her communications with me like one who found water in a desert. "You mentioned that you feel I'm lucky to have all these men interested in me," she said. "I'll be honest with you, Brent. Though I'm honored that men like Matthew McConaughey, Hugh Jackman, and others have desired me, it stumps me too. What really makes me feel lucky is a true love from the depths of the soul that survives the fires of hell, and that's what I have with you. Though I respect Matthew, Hugh, Gerard, and the rest, I really don't put much stock in being the sexiest woman alive, and believe that true love rises above it all." Gail and I were definitely on the same page. However, I have to admit that I really believe that I have found true love with two men, you and Vladimir Putin. The rest I'm not sure of, though I preferred to merge my shimmers with one very special jewel and reserve my passion for that jewel alone. Gail definitely seemed to enjoy shimmers with many jewels, but hey, I saw so many beautiful shimmers from her heart. I'd gladly share Gail's shimmers with other jewels. Above all, I wanted Gail to shimmer as bright as she could and be an emerald that lit up the sky. However, the Jesuit noose was tightening around us as a result of me touching Gail's shimmers directly. She mentioned that at her job at Walmart, it seemed every customer she dealt with was a Jesuit, and that the pressure was increasing at her job. The next day, on July 16, 2011, I saw through our spy cameras Gail perusing online news about Vladimir Putin. "Brent, can you do me a big favor and send Vladimir Putin the 2 private videos that I made for you?" I don't really have a way to send Vladimir videos like that safely, but I know you can do it. I'm a little concerned about him. The last photo I saw of him, he looked a little depressed. I recall that around 2010, when she had pretty much forgotten about Vladimir because she reinstated me as her main jewel in February 2006, she learned he almost committed suicide because of reinstating me and neglecting Vladimir, and so she reinstated him as a brain-to-brain lover. Let Vladimir know that I requested you send him these videos. It will mean a lot to him. Thank you so much. I love Vladimir, and I love you too. Vladimir is more than just a means to defeat Jesuits for me. I care about him. I don't want him depressed. If you send him those videos and let him know that I requested it, it will keep him going a long time. Thank you so much, Brent. I love you, Gabrielle. Gail didn't have a G-string, but at my mention of Shakira, she got online and did research about her. Apparently, she had never heard of Shakira before. She also researched what a G-string was. She got some of her bikini underwear and rolled it up to look like a G-string. For my G-string video request, she took some clips from a Gerard Butler movie she had called The Ugly Truth, where Gerard had a hot salsa dance scene with his lead, Katherine Hagel. And Gail bounced to the salsa music from this video and twirled about while playing it. She twirled like a lithe ballerina, her entire body shapely and thin, while wiggling her toned hips jiving to the music in a rather fine imitation of Shakira. Actually, I thought she outdid Shakira. Gail's shimmer seemed so real to me now that Lori became a distant nightmare that was quickly fading. I don't really go for this kind of music, she said, referring to the music she danced to from The Ugly Truth. But this is good dancing music. I don't have a G-string. I got some bikini underwear and I rolled it up. This is my version of a G-string for you, and I don't really have a sexy bra. My eyes about popped out of my head watching this video. I could tell I was unraveling Gail and was licking my chops over this. I knew from our brain to brain that she could be passionate. I jumped to my computer to respond. Now that is more like it. Shakira, eat your heart out. You look so young in this new video. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you were 25 years old. Your body is sublime, and you have the energy to boot. I am impressed. You were very clever with the makeshift G-string also. I enjoyed that like you would not believe. I wonder what's under there. My sweet wife, you have had me fantasizing in circles all day. How do you keep doing this to me? At your insistence, I told her, I have forwarded the private videos to Vladimir Putin. I know he will enjoy them. I wonder what has him depressed lately. I thought he was thrilled that the two of us have been conversing. It's not another Jesuit attack, I hope. Though the Jesuit news seemed to be tightening, I was dancing with such delight on our shimmering mountain and feeling all the jewels flow over my head that I just had to get more of Gail, adoring how I helped her emerald glow like the sun. Why have the three of us never gotten into bed together? Vladimir might cheer up if we could sandwich him in the middle one of these times. It's not gay if it's in a three-way. That's the golden rule. I'm sure it applies to brain-to-brain encounters also. He's the all-powerful Russian president. Of course, I'd hit it. Your man as always, Brent Spiner. We really hadn't done group sex in the brain-to-brain, but I figured that perhaps Gail just needed the jewels on her mountain to dance more and needed to feel them running through her hand. I always wanted her to be that shimmering jewel that I noticed in her letters to me in the 1990s. Gail mused some more in front of her computer, then typed away. What I really appreciate about you, she said, is that I know you love me, and I don't take that for granted. People viewing our correspondence may think this is a lust relationship, but we truly have a multifaceted relationship. It's spiritual, intellectual, physical, and a total bond. When I corresponded with you in the 1990s, I held back nothing from you, and you seemed to love everything about me. You made me realize that I did not have to put on any performance at all, that I could be loved for who I am, and you liberated me as a woman to drop all the facades with a man and just be myself. In fact, you still do that now. I'm amazed how you know all my little nooks and crannies. Sometimes I feel that you know me even better than I know myself. It must be the brain-to-brain communication. I really appreciate how you've brought me out. You're so good for me. We have an awesome relationship. Your devoted wife, Gabrielle Chana. She had more to say that day and was as excited as myself over the validation of our shimmering mountain. I really like how you express yourself, she said. I know some may be offended over the homosexual overtones and what you said about Vladimir and us in bed together, but to me, it just shows a very generous and caring person that I know you are. I feel so comfortable with you for that reason. It's like nothing is forbidden ground in what I say to you. You never try to cage me in or control me. You only try to love me and free me to be who I'm meant to be. I don't have to impress you. One of the biggest reasons I want to remain your wife is to protect your happiness, because I know the Jesuits want to destroy you just because you love me. I'm thrilled we found this way to communicate. She raised her head high, as if relishing every word she wrote. Keep on fantasizing. I love that about you. From 1991 to now, you make me feel like a sex goddess. I love it. Back in 1991, you always called me gorgeous, and the way you said it, I'd be fantasizing about you all day. You make me feel so sleek and sexy and gorgeous, so that I want to jump into bed with you and thrill you, Gabrielle Chana. The next day, July 17, 2011, I poured my soul out to my fellow jewel on my mountain, who now seemed to make my bed glow like the sun. Sweet Gabrielle, I would only like to emphasize that a large part of my lust for you stems from my insatiable passion for your spirit and personality. There are many physically beautiful women in the world. Of course, you are one of them. But it is your inner greatness that shines through every pore of your being, the glow of your youthful vibrancy and inner depth that causes men like myself, Vladimir, and others to fall head over heels again and again for you. If I at times come across as a lusty little teenager, it is because every day you make me feel like I'm discovering love for the first time all over again. It's an all-encompassing admiration, infatuation, overwhelming desire that never fades with time. I don't care what others think of us. They don't know and will probably never know the depth of what goes on behind these mere words. They don't feel a single iota of what we do for each other. Lustful passion alone doesn't last as long as ours has lasted, and I feel it is due to our intense bond. True love is never extinguished. It seemed most had never experienced our shimmering mountain. From the reactions of some of the people you have encountered, I wonder how many in the world have ever really felt true love. Gail definitely saw past my celebrity persona and only glimpsed at the diamonds in my heart for her. Being a celebrity is one of the hardest jobs in the world. We are constantly at the mercy of the press, having to guard our inner feelings and identities, often for the sake of keeping our jobs. As an actor, I have to hide my own emotions at times. I have to be the puppet, the jokester, the Hollywood playboy, whatever I'm asked by the powers that be, for whatever purposes it may serve. It's not that I don't enjoy my job, I do, but it isn't without its drawbacks. I laid back in my chair, spread my legs out, and sighed in Gail's shimmers, as if floating on a serene, jeweled lake of paradise. It seemed Gail's jewels cascaded over me and drowned me in light and heaven. With you, I can throw away all of my normal inhibitions and simply enjoy whatever may come. I am free. I can let loose all the energy pent up inside through loving you or making love to you. I know you would not judge me, and I don't have to fear your criticisms. You give me your honest feelings with respect and love. I sat up straight in my chair and looked about me, ensuring Laurie was not around. Do take care of yourself. I know your job at Walmart can be harrowing at times, with as many Jesuits that frequent that establishment, and it must be draining. Eat well, sleep well, and make sure you get your exercise. I love you, my sweetest dear lady, your husband, Brent Spiner. Gail responded at once. The fact that you have maintained such an awesome relationship with me, despite the monumental pressures you face, I think you deserve a Nobel Prize or something. Because I love you, I know what you've gone through, and you have my respect. You're my hero. You deserve the Military Medal of Honor. People don't realize that the pressures you have faced are as bad as the pressures that a soldier faces in a war. And this is especially true for you and your love for me. You've suffered battle scars, and if not for my love for you, I fear you would not fare so well. I'm so glad I can bring such an awesome guy some well-deserved happiness. She was like a balm in the midst of Laurie McBride's feces-laden volcano in my life. I understand why you can't meet me face to face. I understand why you can't give me all the financial assistance that you wish you could. We have tremendous complications in our life from the Jesuits. But the love I feel for you and what you feel for me makes it all worthwhile. Thank you so much for this awesome beauty you've brought into my heart. I saw her leaning back in her chair and pondering. The average man out there, if they had to go through what you've had to go through, would have given up on me a long time ago. But you've stuck with me over the years because you saw an emerald in my inner soul that helped you rise above the shallow abysses in Hollywood and give meaning to your life, and you couldn't let that emerald go. How perceptive and wise my Gail was. That you refused to succumb to the pressures in Hollywood to be a shallow person or to be less great than you are has caused me to devote my life to bringing you happiness. I've looked inside your soul and seen greatness there, and I've clutched at it, believed in it, and spurred you on. The same perseverance that you had that caused you to become a famous actor, you have applied to your love for me, and maybe even more to your love for me. I've seen you make choices to honor your love for me over fame or celebrity, which is one reason You are not as famous now as you were in the 1990s. She nailed it. But I never loved you for your fame. I've always loved you for who you are, and you are a truly great person. I love you. You have my utmost respect, and I won't desert you. You've brought me such joy, my dear husband. Your loving wife, Gabrielle Chana. Vladimir and I exchanged phone calls as we'd done many a time before, and I sent him Gail's sexy videos. These are beautiful videos, Vladimir told me. It will keep my manhood very strong for a long time. I'm lucky to have such a brave, handsome, masculine woman. I will explain why I am so unhappy. I work with my trusted secret agents while trying to kill Jesuits. We have learned that they were very brave. One of their secret websites has now gone public. Vladimir seemed to hesitate, then supplied me a link to the website. As I had feared, the Jesuits were upping their game. Their feces were already landing on our shimmering mountain. Brent Spiner. The famous actor Brent Spiner is most known for his role as Data in Star Trek: The Next Generation. He is not known for much else. Over the years, he has attempted stage plays, music, and comedy with varying, usually brief and forgotten success. Throughout the 1990s, Brent Spiner began corresponding with Gail by telephone and later created 2 music albums for her, Oh Yellow Eyes Is Back and Dreamland. He is the first, favorite, and most devoted lover bonded to Gail Schuler, and as such has become our next most important target and enemy. In order to completely destroy Gail, we must first completely destroy Brent. Camilla Alves. Camilla is a top Jesuit agent wife who has been assigned to Matthew McConaughey to destroy his love for Gail. Her sexual prowess and deviancy rivals that of Laurie McBride. This was indeed Matthew McConaughey's Laurie McBride. Gerard Butler. Gerard functions as a psychiatrist for all of the men on the marriage list. He plays a significant role in screening and choosing the men for Gail's marriage list. What would we have done without Gerard? He helped keep us sane amidst Jesuit vulgarity and revulsion. Hugh Jackman. When one of our Jesuit agents attempted to assassinate Brent Spiner, Hugh Jackman pulled out his concealed weapon and shot our agent dead. Brent and Vladimir encouraged Gail to have telepathic sex with Hugh Jackman in order to reward him and boost his morale. Hugh Jackman was later put on the marriage list. In the meantime, we have murdered his original wife and replaced her with a clone in order to destroy his once genuine love life. This attempted assassination on myself happened in September 2010 while I was at the White House visiting our friend, President Barack Obama. Keith Morgan, MD. Keith is an ophthalmologist whom Gail attended school with at Florida State University. Oh my God! They were even targeting poor Keith Morgan, someone Gail met while she was a student in college in the 1970s. He was now an ophthalmologist. Edward Prendergast. Edward is a business executive whom Gail attended school with at Baptist University. This was someone who went to Gail's Bible college that was called Baptist University of America in Decatur, Georgia, a school she attended in the 1980s. Laurie McBride. Our most skilled and devious agent is Laurie McBride, a genetic masterpiece built nucleotide by nucleotide to be the most murderous calculating cock blocker in the history of bioengineering. Through Laurie McBride, we have successfully staged a relationship between she and Brent Spiner. The plan was initially a gigantic success, giving Gail the impression that Brent Spiner was cheating on her with our agent, driving her to the brink of insanity. By the time Gail had discovered the true nature of Project McBride, it was too late. The public at large had been fooled, and Brent Spiner forced into submission by our most devious and deadly agent. Laurie then drugged and raped Brent Spiner, stealing his semen, and artificially impregnated herself with his biological child. He remains trapped, only able to converse with Gail through their pathetic, telepathic communications, and occasional social networking messages. They may be in love, but they will never be together. Oh my God! This was so true, and they even admitted it. Didn't these Jesuits have any shame? Ludmila Putin. Our second most valuable agent is Ludmila Putin, a clone of Vladimir Putin's real wife, Larissa Putin, who died shortly before he became Russian president. Although Project Larissa was a faulty and less sophisticated work compared to Project McBride, Larissa was a summer and Ludmila is an autumn, an error in our cloning procedures. Fortunately, only women with a highly sophisticated fashion sense will ever notice. In order to prevent a war with the United States under threat of George Bush, Vladimir Putin chose to marry Ludmila. In order to emphasize Vladimir's marriage to Ludmila to the press, we have occasionally created false extramarital affairs, such as with Jesuit agent Alina Kabayeva. As with Brent, Vladimir Putin continues to maintain telepathic contact with Gail. However, if he is to prevent a massive political folly that could throw his entire country, perhaps the entire world, into war, he will obey the company and maintain his false relationship with Ludmila. It was no wonder Vladimir was so upset. They even had the gall to make fun of Gail's brilliance in color and fashion. Gail mastered the color personalities as described in Carol Jackson's Color Me Beautiful. These Jesuits knew us in and out, except for the beautiful shimmers in our souls. Matthew McConaughey. Put me on the list. I love Gail. Matthew McConaughey. After Vladimir Putin's failed heart attack in 2005, Matthew McConaughey was assigned as a replacement husband for about a month. When his time with Gail ended, he asked to be in line as her next husband, inspiring the rest of the list to spring forth. Jesuit agent Camilla Alves later stole Matthew's sperm and artificially impregnated herself, obligating him into a relationship with her for the sake of his children. This successfully induced clinical depression, which was thwarted by additional telepathic sex with Gail and psychiatric counseling from Gerard Butler. I remember this in November 2005. The Jesuits almost killed Vladimir with a heart attack then, rendering Vladimir unable to have brain-to-brain sex with Gail. Vladimir assigned Matthew in his place. At the time, Matthew was playing Dor from Gail's novel Silver Skies, which was how Gail noticed Matthew when she saw him on the cover of the People magazine as sexiest man alive in the fall of 2005. Gerard told Gail in 2008 that Matthew was suicidal over Camilla and that Gail could help him get out of it with brain-to-brain loving. Gail Schuler, pen name Gabrielle Chana. The Beginnings. Gail was born September 15, 1957, to a divorced single mother in Cutler Ridge, Florida. Shortly after the birth, our genetic profiling teams were made aware of a dangerous combination of genes in infant Gail, 60% Catherine the Great and 50% King David. To make matters worse, her great-uncle was none other than the great Howard Hughes himself. This was a sure recipe for disaster. Since 1957, we have fought to hide her powerful genetic past from society. We first tried to kill her by giving her an allergy to baby formula. When that failed, we started the Cold War in order to keep Russia and the United States distracted so that we could continue to weaken her quietly. It was a success. Our current methods of control include sabotaging her own brain, family, friendships, and most importantly, her love lives with the famous and powerful men that seek to be with her. In order to keep Gail from destroying our mission for world domination, society must never find out who she really is. We have successfully hidden her power from the world by rewriting her entire genetic profile and fabricating a diminished societal image of Gail. To the ordinary person, Gail is nothing more than an average-looking, middle-aged, divorced, single woman. She suffers from paranoid schizophrenia, This angle is particularly clever since we are then able to have our agents in the medical field administer psychiatric drugs that keep her further under our control. Anyone that meets her will only see a crazy woman with poor self-esteem who has built a rich fantasy life to fill her deep emotional holes. Her love life. Despite our meddling, Gail Schuler has obtained 2 famous and powerful husbands. The passionate love these 2 men share for Gail has proved to be our biggest obstacle yet. Should these 2 men ever meet with Gail, the results could be catastrophic. So far, we have successfully kept society from knowing about her relationships with these men by assigning Jesuit agents to pose as their real lovers. We have fabricated stories, photos, and documents about their relationships, and in the case of Vladimir, created false extramarital affairs in order to fool the world at large into thinking both of these men are happily taken by more appropriate, famous, less Jewish women. We have built and assigned 2 women for this task, Lori McBride and Ludmila Putin. Aside from Brent Spiner and Vladimir Putin, Gail has engaged in telepathic relationships with a number of equally powerful men. From what we have been informed is in fact a secret marriage list. A list of famous men organized by Vladimir and Brent should either of them ever be eliminated by our agents. These men will all die for Gail, and potentially all of them could prove treacherous obstacles in our plans to sabotage her life. The situation. Due to Gail's unabated actions to leak the truth through her writings, website, and YouTube channel, she continues to be our biggest threat and remains our #1 target. We will stop at nothing to prevent her from meeting with her powerful husbands and revealing our plans to the world. This situation is not to be underestimated. Marriage list. The marriage list is a list of men organized by Brent Spiner and Vladimir Putin for Gail in the event that either of their lives be extinguished by Jesuit agents. The entire list is unknown at this time, but a few men have been confirmed as husbands in waiting. It is believed that there are roughly 40 men on this list, most of them famous. They have been screened for compatibility with Gail's personality using computer satellite brain reads. The list was started in 2005 after we attempted to kill Vladimir Putin with a near-fatal heart attack, rendering him unable to have telepathic sex with Gail. Members of the marriage list include Matthew McConaughey, Hugh Jackman, Gerard Butler, Keith Morgan, M.D., Edward Prendergast, Chinese President Hu Jintao. Oh no, not my Gail! Was it my fault that we were all now on this horrible Jesuit website? Because I dared to contact Gail outside of Brain to Brain and be more direct with her? David Stuart Pullman Schuler, clone. Stuart is a genetic carbon copy of Gail Schuler's husband with several important modifications. The new and vastly improved David Schuler was infused with the genes of several genocidal dictators and right-wing talking heads in order to be best suited with the role of destroying Gail emotionally. His goal eventually to weaken her to the point of death. He is a cold-hearted, sexually bleak, unromantic douchebag. His mission was to stop Gail's relationship with Brent Spiner by discouraging her from working on her teleplays, watching Star Trek, and writing Brent Spiner. He later played a major role in committing Gail to a mental facility and destroyed any tapes that she had recorded of Brent Spiner. Although now divorced from Gail, Stuart remains a top-notch clone and useful agent behind the scenes. What would have become of my Gail if I didn't fall in love with her? While she worked at Walmart from March 2004 forward, in 2006, she wrote Catherine of King David, her memoir, and Steven Spielberg even made a movie of it like he did her novel Silver Skies, written from 1993 to 1996. Silver Skies was written in the 1990s to honor my love for Gail. Catherine of King David, written in 2006, was more her memoir. Both garnered Academy Awards and Nobel Prizes in literature, in secret ceremonies that, of course, never made the mainstream Jesuit-controlled news. To protect herself legally from her ex David, she gave her ex David the name Stuart Pullman in her memoir. Vladimir was able to pull the memoir off her computer as she worked on it in 2006. Gail called Laurie McBride Maureen O'Brien in this memoir. She renamed Melbourne, Florida as Modelo, Florida, too. I was in awe over this memoir and amazed at my Gail's brilliance, perception, and courage to write it. Princess Diana. A woman of powerful genetic ancestry, Princess Diana had been under our scrutiny since birth. After her successful marriage to Prince Charles, we quickly replaced him with a Jesuit clone in order to control over her life and indoctrinate her. The princess rebelled against his abuses, instead forming many secret relationships with her true spiritual lovers who would shield her from her Jesuit husband and do everything in their power to fight back against the company. James Hewitt, Hasnat Khan, and Dodi Fayed were among the known men on her list of secret husbands. After divorcing Agent Charles and pursuing the true love of her life, Dodi Fayed, things began to grow serious. The royal couple was on their righteous humanitarian way to destroying all of our plans. We heavily inebriated and assigned Agent Henry Paul as the chauffeur for the loving couple that fateful night when the assassination of Princess Diana completed as a success. What they did to Diana was truly awful, and to think they were gloating over this. Michael Jackson. From a young age, Michael Jackson was capturing the hearts of millions as a singing, dancing musical prodigy. He joined his brothers in a band called the Jackson Five under the supervision of their strict Jesuit father, Joe Jackson. Once a devout follower, growing Michael Jackson's break from his family and their staunch religious ties, accompanied with his rise to fame, became a major concern for us. The Prince of Pop was a powerful celebrity figure with the potential to change the world with his ideas. He tried to reveal our plans many times. After many futile attempts to bring him back to an understanding with the Jesuits, we had no other choice but to ruin him. We impregnated several women with his semen, trying to assign him an agent wife, infused him with illness time and time again, and destroyed his reputation to make him appear as a pedophile, the most stigmatizing and unforgivable stigma we could think of. Gleefully unaffected, his fan base continued to thrive, and the prince continued to rebel against us. Eventually, we had no other choice but to assassinate him. We assigned Michael a Jesuit doctor to overdose him on a cocktail of lethal drugs, closing the case on the moonwalker for good. Michael Jackson's Jesuit doctor killed him. My friend and Michael Jackson's cousin, Judge Terrance Jenkins, said that Michael was also a big fan of Gail's. Billy Mays. William Darrell Billy Mays Jr. was an American television salesperson, introducing seemingly innocuous products to the market, such as OxyClean Stain Remover, Mighty Putty, and the Dual Saw, a circular saw with 2 blades instead of 1. Behind the scenes, Billy was a master engineer dedicating his time and effort into creating otherworldly technologies with which to thwart and fend off Jesuit attacks on fellow celebrities. On the night before he was to unveil a massive tool with the potential to put an end to all Jesuit satellite neurotechnologies for good, our agents induced in him a fatal heart attack. We would later skew pathology reports to make it look like charming Billy was in fact a vile, untrustworthy drug addict. His pre-existing heart condition complicated by the use of oxycodone and cocaine. His award-winning products, most famously OxyClean, would never be viewed the same way ever again. We must continue to be cautious, Vladimir warned us. With this bold move, We may be able to see what they are up to. It was July 18, 2011, and of course I needed to let Gail know about this horrible development. Those Jesuits sure didn't waste any time. Important, I wrote her. Dear Gabrielle, I was so flattered and warmed by the video you made for Vladimir and I this evening. I think my letters to you truly speak from my inner emotions, and I'm thrilled that you've chosen to share them. Your passion for me matches mine for you, and I think this is why we'll always be bonded so closely. I paused and swallowed hard. If only Gail and I could be lovers in peace. Vladimir responded today to the videos I forwarded for him. He definitely enjoyed them. Unfortunately, something disturbing has come to his attention as of late. I'm not sure if this new revelation will surprise you or not. I'll just let him tell you himself exactly as he told me. I must warn you that his letter came in through a very coarse translating program, so he asks that you please bear with him, as some of the wording may come across as awkward. He didn't want to risk sharing this information with any human translators, so he sat down with a Russian to English dictionary for about 6 hours and tried to do it himself. That Vladimir spent 6 hours to write this in English himself, I was sure would make quite an impression on Gail. Vladimir was so passionate about Gail. With that in mind, however, I think you will understand the gist of what he is trying to say. To Gabrielle, my dear love, I would like to thank you for the beautiful video you made. It will keep my manhood as very strong for a long time to come. I was lucky to have such a brave, handsome, masculine woman. I must tell you why I was so unhappy. I work with my trusted secret agents trying to kill the Jesuits. It has come to my attention that they were very brave. They did an internal website, became a public secret. It can be found at www.orderofthejesuits.com. We must continue to be cautious. This bold move by the Jesuits may be able to see that they are up to. I will contact you again as soon as I can. Be safe, my sexual lover, Vladimir Putin. Now I think we know what's had the Russian president looking so down in that photo you recently witnessed, I said to Gail, confirming to her that Vladimir was indeed troubled. I am worried too for everyone involved. The Jesuits have stepped up their game, and it looks as though we may have to as well. Just look at what happened to their past targets. These Jesuits are insidious. It might be a smart move to announce the existence of this site to your followers, if you think that any of them can help. So far, very few people outside of the Jesuits themselves even know about this page. Just be careful. I developed a strange headache just looking through this thing, and I still can't shake it. I nodded my head in disbelief. Did this awful Jesuit website put a spell on me? All of a sudden, I felt like a dark fog seeped into my heart. So obsessed with power and rage, these Jesuits desecrated our shimmering mountain like starved mutants who felt that feces was grand fare. I'm sorry to have to bring this to your attention. Please continue to take care of yourself and be careful out there. I'll be worried for you. Your husband, Brent Spiner. Gail strove to help me understand these Jesuit mutants, to make us wise in dealing with them. Brent, the reason we are so targeted by the Jesuits is because we are the main people holding them back from a Jesuit world takeover, Gail said to me on July 18, 2011. They almost have the entire planet. I've known this for years. Brent, if not for us, we would not be living in a free country right now. And thank God for brave Vladimir Putin. Gail was as disgusted over this desecration of our shimmering mountain as myself, and responded more on July 19, 2011. I've thoroughly perused that disgusting Jesuit website, and have already begun exposing them on my website. I'm not done yet. I'm going to give them hell. I remember how upset she was over the Jesuits doing September 11, 2001 to punish me for daring to go to Florida to be with Gail then. She went into a long description about how she used natural medicine and her acupuncture doctor to help her deal with what appeared to be a very stubborn yeast infection throughout her body. As a medical doctor, I noticed some things she was doing that may not be helping her out too much. She mentioned possible menopause complications affecting her yeast infection and that the yeast may also be giving her achy joints. First off, I'm infected with the most stubborn yeast organism out there, she told me. I wonder how this happened. Gail's many ailments and how the doctors handled her was the biggest reason I studied to become a physician. I graduated from UCLA Medical School in 2006, just for Gail. But the yeast germ is already in my body, and I have to deal with it, Gail said. I started menopause about 2 months ago. Man, that stinking germ is going rampant in my body and giving me aches all over that feels like rheumatoid arthritis. She paused. My job called me today because they were worried about me, and I apologized and told them that my yeast infection is really bad today and that it's giving my brain a fog, and I got confused about what day of the week it is. I offered to come in late and work later, but they were real sweet and said I should probably stay home and get over this. I feel safe with Walmart. I don't worry that Jesuits will take over the company, so I like to work there. Jesuits have made infiltrations into Walmart, but eventually Walmart figures what the Jesuits are up to, and they deal with it in a manner that shows they don't support the Jesuits, so I stay there. Walmart and I are on the same page. I was grateful to Walmart for how they took care of my Gail. In fact, one of the managers at the store where Gail worked, Ivan Webb, was on Gail's marriage list. But Gail didn't seem to know this. Our brain reads on her indicated that she just thought Ivan was a super nice manager that she worked with. We pretty much picked the men for Gail's marriage list, consulting with our genius psychiatrist, Gerard Butler, who determined who'd be compatible with Gail. Gail heard about the marriage list brain to brain, but understandably may not have trusted all she heard brain to brain. Ivan was apparently a married manager too, at least that's what Gail saw when she worked with him, so Gail probably didn't know he was on her marriage list. I'm debating whether I should read portions of that horrible Jesuit website onto a YouTube video to really expose the Jesuits via YouTube, but I have to admit, I really prefer not to dwell on these creeps. I responded to her on July 19th. Oh, my love, that sounds like a stressful day. It's a good thing Walmart cares about you so much as a person. You should rest and enjoy your day off. I think your body will deal with menopause naturally, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. The changes in your hormones at this time may even be contributing to the yeast infection, so unfortunately it might just be something you have to wait out. It shouldn't be too hard to stick to a healthy diet to help things along. I know you're mostly vegetarian and don't really like red meat to begin with. Gail had requested that I forward our messages to Vladimir. I'll start forwarding all of these messages to Vladimir. I think it will make him feel much more included in our communications. He is still worried about you, but it seems since receiving your videos he has enjoyed a much higher morale. He works so hard to defend the world and protect you. It's a good thing he has such a strong woman to stoke his fires, or who knows what would have become of him by now. Even without the work of the Jesuits, he's always had the weight of the world on his shoulders. You know this just as well as I do. I, too, shared Gail's outrage over how this Jesuit website desecrated our shimmering mountain and understood why she didn't want to dwell on Jesuit feces. However, I noticed some of the edits to your website and YouTube videos. Do you think it might be a little too subtle? Most people walk around so clueless and turned off to the world that they might not even notice unless they were looking for it. I bet it would help if you did make a YouTube video exposing that Jesuit website. Most people out there need to be grabbed by the head and shaken before they will wake up. I was still basking in my ability to communicate for real with Gail. Be safe out there, my Gabrielle Chan. Aren't I clever? And please enjoy your day off. It sounds like you need it. Your devoted lover, Brent Spiner. Gail made several YouTube videos and basically just read off the entire Jesuit website to the world with all its disgusting posts. She ended her exposure of those despicable Jesuits with this, with determination in her eyes. I'm focused on Brent and Vladimir, but I'm only mentioning these other guys on my marriage list because I don't want them harmed by the Jesuits, because the Jesuits make a stinking website. And I'm going to give them hell over this because they make me mad that they have the nerve to do this. Jesuits, I'm giving you hell right now. How dare you make this website? Who do you think you are? You arrogant bastards. Yep, and you know what, Jesuits? Gail had defiance in her eyes. All I can say is I know you want to kill me, and I've known it for a long time. And I've also known for a long time that I'm the most targeted woman in the world. I've said that many a time. All I can say is if you kill me, have fun dealing with all the bad press you're going to get over this. Gail smiled. It'll stink to high heaven. Wow, I responded on July 20th, 2011. You are an incredibly gutsy woman. I am so proud of you. I feel so blessed to be married to such a fiery, passionate woman who isn't afraid to speak out about what she believes is right. Vladimir, the other men, and I all fight to protect you, but you are far from a helpless damsel in distress. You fight back like a true heroine. I don't think the Jesuits have any idea what they are up against. I felt a surge of pride in my heart for Gail. She stood up to the powerful Jesuit order like David fighting Goliath. It was obvious that she was, in fact, 50% King David. The Jesuits, unfortunately, had reason to fear her. Our love for each other is not only divine, I feel like it makes us invincible, I told her. I think that's why they try so hard to destroy our relationship and your relationships with the other men that give you your impenetrable strength. If they could get you all alone, lost, with no one to love or to love you, they would have killed you by now. Our love is so brilliant and strong that it not only thwarts their moves, it frightens them. They hate it. They'll never be able to get you as long as you stay so resolute and strong, fueled by the love of your true loves and true friends. The moment you show weakness and try to hide, they would have you. You kick butt. Your knight, Brent Spiner. I decided to try and take care of my emerald. So what did you do with your day off yesterday? You feel any better from your infection after the oxygen chamber and some rest? I just love hearing from you, my lady, and I hope you are well. Your husband, Brent Spiner. Gail went into a lengthy discussion about her natural medicine regimen to deal with yeast. After reading her comments, I decided to be her doctor and responded on July 20th, 2011. Well, I did a little research about Candida albicans. What I've been reading is that Candida is an organism that actually occurs naturally in the body, but is typically kept in balance by certain types of bacteria. It seems that if you try and attack the yeast too aggressively, since some of it is supposed to be there, that you can actually make it worse by throwing off your hormones, vaginal pH, and killing the bacteria that is supposed to be keeping the Candida in check naturally. My theory is that if you go off of the yeast treatment for a while, your body would slowly take over for itself and you'll gradually begin to feel better. Eating yogurt and other foods rich in probiotics would be a must so that the bacteria in your body will balance out or the yeast will grow back. I also think you should try taking glucosamine for your joints. You work very long hours at Walmart and are hitting menopause, so you could actually have a little arthritis coming on. It's only normal, even I have a little arthritis. Glucosamine typically takes a few weeks before it starts to work, but it will improve the health of your joints by a long shot. I didn't read anything that said yeast infections would directly cause sore joints, so this might be a more likely solution for you. I don't mean to be overstepping myself, and I wouldn't want to go against the wishes of any of your doctors. But I think the human body is surprisingly resilient, and sometimes less is more, especially right now when it's trying to find a normal balance for itself. Eat well and maybe lay low on the supplements for a while. so it can adjust and figure out what it needs to do. That is just my opinion. I knew that Gail knew I had gone to UCLA medical school from her brain to brain with me, but perhaps she wasn't sure how accurate her brain to brain was over the years, and maybe wasn't even sure if I was, in fact, a medical doctor. "I am so glad that I make you happy," I said to her. "You have certainly improved my quality of life and given me more than I could have ever asked from a lover. I would do anything to help you thrive and fulfill your greatest potential. Love, your caring husband, Brent Spiner." Gail responded the next day, July 21st, 2011, and I could sense from the brain to brain that she felt my medical advice was a bit off. "I'm running a little late," she said, "so I can't completely respond to all you say, but it leaves me food for thought. I believe I have a milk allergy, so I take probiotics, not yogurt. I'm allergic to shellfish, so glucosamine is out." My, she sure felt like she had a lot of allergies. I wish I could do thorough allergy testing on her. "I'm taking a joint support supplement called iFlex. It's glucosamine free. My body goes backward, kinesiology, on glucosamine." Not sure how I felt about kinesiology, but it seemed Gail's options were pretty limited. She had had such bad luck with doctors, she didn't trust most of them. And I have definitely been feeling better since I've taken that 9-strain Candida treatment. I have the worst form of Candida out there. It's worse than Candida albicans. But you bring some valid points, and I will consider them. You really believe that my Candida treatment is killing off good bacteria in the gut? I'm not taking antibiotics, you know. However, you may have a point about getting off the yeast treatment to give my body a rest. But I think I'll wait until I finish my bottle of 9-strain Candida, since I feel so much better than yesterday after being back on it. It seems to be working. She apparently felt my treatment plan wouldn't work for her. However, I appreciate your concern. I have a ton of allergies because I've had this Candida infection so long. My acupuncture doctor thinks I'll be dealing with this for the rest of my life. I'm afraid she may be right. Aha! She trusted her acupuncture doctor. Well, we had done reads on her doctor, Sylvia Morin, and Sylvia was actually a pretty good acupuncturist and a nice person. At least Sylvia was not a Jesuit. My yeast infection is very entrenched. However, I can tell from your comments that you are very intelligent. But you don't know my medical history, so some of what you say may not work for me. But thanks so much for caring. Yet some of what you say may work. I'll consider it. My food allergies are so bad. I have to prepare all my own food and I cook from scratch. There isn't much I can eat. I never eat out because I control all my ingredients. I personally think the Jesuits have done this to me, but I'm just grateful that I can eat. She didn't want to insult me, I could tell, and I sensed a real distrust of conventional medicine in our brain readings from her. This was understandable, since it seemed nothing they did for her helped her systemic yeast infection. She seemed to see me as hopelessly mired in conventional medicine, perhaps because of my medical training at UCLA Medical School. But I was just digesting all this communication I was having with her and seeing if I could refine my treatment plan for her in my mind. "Thank you for caring," she said, "and you do make me happy. I hope it won't disappoint you if I'm ever with you that I probably won't be able to eat out at restaurants, except to enjoy your company. I could probably only order very few items. Love, your devoted wife, Gabrielle Chana." I just wanted my wife healthy and happy. The Jesuits were determined to keep her sick or to kill her. She deluged me with more about her medical history, apparently trying to help me be a better doctor for her, trying to get me out of my conventional medicine mindset so I could help her better. I became so lost in her words. It was as if she was right beside me, and really my wife for real. I was still writing Gail on this July 21st, 2011, 2 weeks after July 8th, 2011, when we started communicating just like husband and wife. It was as if Lori didn't exist. I felt like I was dancing with freedom and joy on our mountain. Gail's courageous, soaring spirit from her YouTube videos infected me with a sort of delirium, and I seemed to be living in my own safe bubble, and Lori seemed a million miles away. I lost myself so deeply in Gail's words, her eyes, her voice, that I didn't even think to look over my shoulder. I didn't even think to close the window. Suddenly, I felt the presence of that McBride mutant creeping stealthily behind me. Like a scorpion, I felt it on my head as Lori struck with lightning speed. In fact, I didn't even feel it. My only thought as I fell to the floor was Gail. It was all a blur now. I seemed to be recovering and could barely remember what happened or what was transpiring around me at the hospital. It was the next day, July 22nd, 2011, and I had awakened. This was exactly 2 weeks after Gail and I started writing each other. I tried to gather my thoughts, and I remembered Gail and the other men trying to get in touch with me brain to brain, and some other voices I didn't recognize. Or were those doctors? But it wasn't very clear. The injury seemed to hurt my ability to communicate brain to brain. Whether temporarily or permanently, I didn't know. My heart fell and seemed to sink into a pool of feces and disgusting and slimy mud. Now that beautiful shimmering mountain of Gail seemed like a mist vanishing into the night. Oh my God! I couldn't even do brain to brain. This was worse than before I tried to contact Gail directly. I tried talking to Gail brain to brain, but it was like scrambling up the sides of a slimy pit and continually falling down. I could barely hear anyone on the other side, like picking up a phone with a lot of static. My heart latched out into the night, trying to grasp onto any light I could find. My eyes narrowed, looking for that shimmering mountain, but it seemed to have vanished into the dark night. It seemed that I was in a long, dark tunnel of despair, and that I couldn't see Gail's mountain anywhere, not even in my dreams, like it was all a delicious dream that had vanished into nothingness. Now my only reality was cold, slimy walls, filled with feces and slime, with scorpions and rats scurrying about me. Feeling forlorn and lost, tears and sobs overcame me, my sobs echoing off slimy and cold walls in my heart, like ghost laughter harrowing me like a nightmare. I got on my iPad and shot Gail a message, grasping out in desperation for light. I am devastated. I hope this doesn't scare you. I hope it gets better as the rest of me heals. Please help me. I don't think any conventional doctor is going to know what to do about this. I remembered that Gail didn't trust conventional medicine, and that seemed just what I needed right now. Some of Gail's alternative medicine smarts. I also needed Gail to be that tower of strength that I was now vaguely recalling from her YouTube videos. That snake, Lori McBride, seems to own the police around here. I barely held back my tears. I tried to explain to the police what happened, and she was briefly detained. But the next thing I know, I'm awake again, and Lori's at my bedside with flowers, acting like nothing had happened. The doctor said nothing to her. I wanted to jump out of my skin when she reached out to stroke my hair. I might as well have been looking at a ghoul. I don't know how long she's been here in the hospital, maybe the whole time. She's gone right now, thank God. I think she's corroborating with the police, since a federal agent was called. You can thank Vladimir for that. They're probably going to cover this whole thing up, those bastards. I felt a tear go down my cheek. This is all my fault. I am so sorry for this. I should have been more careful when talking to you this way. I was just so excited. I was fearless. I'm not going to let her win. I'm going to keep writing you because it means so much to me. But from now on, I'm only going to write when she is completely out of the house. I'm not going to try and sneak it if I know she could be just around the corner anymore. As I told you before, boldness should not cross with foolishness. And I've been very foolish with this precious gift of two-way communication we have achieved. I suppose love makes men this way sometimes. I am sorry for the scare. I will talk to you again soon. Don't you worry about me. Your strong husband, Brent Spiner. My Gail's response over the next couple days, July 22nd to 25th, 2011, was like a tidal wave. I could feel myself riding her Catherine the Great tide. Gail's genetic profile of 50% King David and 60% Catherine the Great, with a 10% overlap between the two, rose up in Gail. Gail was coming back from the dead. My dearest Brent, your brain-to-brain communications are coming in. I'm also hearing from Vladimir Putin and some of the men on my marriage list. I'm glad you're out of that awful hospital. I don't feel that was a safe environment for you. And I'm proud of Vladimir for pulling you out of that hospital as soon as he could. That hospital was obviously under Jesuit control. The Jesuits wanted to kill you, but myself and the awesome men on my marriage list have saved your life, thank God. Now you rest and get better, and we'll have our old Brent back in around a month, I think. Please forward the following letter to Vladimir Putin. My dear Vladimir, because Brent Spiner had the courage to establish a two-way communication between me and him, it is now possible for me to write you. For this reason, I am changing the focus of my life and going away from my writings and back to my emphasis on law. As you know, we have built together quite a body of law to fight the Jesuits over the years, and you have been the courageous pioneer to try to enforce this law. I quit writing new law for you because there was nothing more to write, and our biggest problem was enforcement. But thanks to courageous Brent and my new internet presence with you, I think we have hope to begin to enforce my law. Here is what I propose to deal with this. I define a significant person as a person who the Jesuits target because that person is important to keep me alive or to support me against Jesuit attacks on my life. Significant persons are persons such as Brent Spiner, yourself, Matthew McConaughey, Hugh Jackman, my real mother, not her clone, my real sister, not her clone, my fellow Walmart workers, not their evil clones, etc. All significant persons need protection from the Jesuits. I propose that every significant person's home be fitted with surveillance video cameras that will cover all the yard and area around that significant person's home, and that part of the technology in this camera be a genetic code scanner that scans for the genetic presence of a dangerous person. So let's say that Lori McBride parks her car in Brent's front yard and starts walking around. This video camera would scan and detect Lori's genetic code and set off an alarm at a law enforcement office, and would also set off an alarm at a Russian law enforcement office. Our Russian agents would contact the U.S. and let them know that American law enforcement needs to get on this. Law enforcement would immediately rush to Brent Spiner's home and arrest Lori McBride for trespassing and attempted murder. If American law enforcement fails to respond to this alarm, we would conduct an investigation over why this was ignored. If they ignored the alarm and allowed Lori to harass Brent, we would bring this up at our International Charity Bank meetings, our version of the United Nations. The hearing for this would be aired on our international broadcast news. If it is determined that the U.S. or any country is in complicity with the Jesuit order against any significant person, and this country's law enforcement ignored our alarm and willingly and knowingly allowed a dangerous Jesuit to get near a significant person, that could be grounds for a declaration of war. We would present our case before the world on our international broadcast news and present the evidence that evil, murdering Jesuits are allowed to prosper and torment our people. We would present the evidence that the Jesuits sponsored the Nazi Holocaust and strive to do it again. We would ask other countries to join with us in our war against this evil country that cooperates with evil Jesuits to promote a Stalinist, Hitler-type dictatorship over the world. We would beg other countries to join with us in outrage over this. My mom said she wants to meet with me about discussing money for law school. I want to study online law school through California Northwestern Law School. I'm excited about the possibility of studying law. Believe it or not, I have such a passion for law, medicine, and writing so much, I'd do them all for free. I could only sit for the bar in California with this law school, But I think an online law school will give me maximum flexibility to deal with Jesuit attacks against me so that I can recoup and continue my studies after a Jesuit attack. I was hoping my writing money would come in so I could study acupuncture. But after reading that Jesuit website, I don't think the money will come in, at least not through your normal methods. So perhaps I'll study law instead. It's a little cheaper and more accessible. I'm interested in both law and medicine. I could see that my courage to contact Gail now inspired her to climb to the pinnacle of our mountain and to honor her King David and Catherine the Great in her core. She stood on our mountain holding our true love banner high, flicking off all the feces that had desecrated our shimmering mountain. My contacting her directly only reinforced to her that her shimmering mountain was real, and she would live there, even if she had to die on that mountain. Vladimir didn't waste any time. On July 25, 2011, Vladimir and his associates set up prototype genetic surveillance scanners outside my home. Vladimir set up the surveillance cameras around my home as an emergency, considering everything that happened and the immediate danger I was in. The alarm went off that evening of July 25, 2011, but whoever it was ran away before federal agents could respond. They filed a report and searched for Lori or one of her clones all night, but couldn't find her. Once these are fully tested, Vladimir said to me, and work 100%, I make sure to get them sent to the United States and have them installed around Gail's home too. For the time being, they asked police to patrol my neighborhood as an additional security measure. Hopefully, the alarm going off would give Lori a proper scare and she wouldn't dare try coming around again. It seemed that the scanners around my house were in good working order so far. I could finally breathe a very heavy sigh of relief, and Gail's shimmering mountain was coming into view. I jumped to the computer to write Gail. I missed the shimmers from her mountain. This daily correspondence with Gail made it seem like her emerald filled my house with light and shimmers, and I so desperately needed that right now. However, Vladimir had a request for Gail, and I promised I'd let Gail know. To my sexual lover, I am very sad in the event Lori McBride injury Brent in head. I have followed your wishes to produce expanding Jesuit law killed Jesuits. My secret agents put camera scan genome in places. You and other special people are protect. I want you to be proud. I kill a Jesuit myself today using martial arts judo. We are winning small battles, but the war is very ugly fat. I have decided to improve my English as to one day have phone sexy time. Would you enjoy? I wishing I could always keep you safe. Sometimes I want to put you in a protective plastic bag so I can protect you from the Jesuits. I want to express my strong sexual desire for you, but I do not know what words to use. I read the Bible, and I wanted to share my feelings for you, to quote song lyrics of Solomon. You are beautiful, my darling, beautiful beyond words. Your eyes are like doves behind your veil. Your hair falls out in waves like a herd of goats, the curtailment of the slopes of Gilead. Your teeth are as white as sheep, newly shorn and washed. Your smile is flawless. Each tooth is aligned with its counterpart. Your lips are red as the ribbon. Your mouth, invitation, oral sex. Your cheeks are pink like a grenade behind your veil. Your neck is as beautiful as the Tower of David, jeweled with the shields of thousands of heroes. Your breasts like two fawns, two of the calves graze among the lilies' gazelle. Before dawn breezes blow and the night shadows flee, I will hasten to the mountain of myrrh and the hill of frankincense. You are altogether beautiful, my darling, masculine in all respects. Come with me from Lebanon, my bride. Come with me from Lebanon. Come down from Mount Amana, from the top of Senir and Hermon, where lions and leopards live in dens in the hills. You captured my heart, my treasure, my bride. You hold it hostage with one glance of your eyes, with one chain of thy neck. Your love delights me, my treasure, my bride. Your love is better than wine, your perfume more fragrant than spices. Your lips are as sweet as nectar, my bride. Honey and milk are under your tongue. Your clothes are fragrant like the cedars of Lebanon. You are my private garden, my treasure, my bride, secluded in the spring, the hidden fountain. Your inner thighs housing paradise garnets with rare spices, hentai with backgammon and saffron, calamus and cinnamon, allspice, with all trees of frankincense, myrrh and aloes, and all the other wonderful spices. You are a garden fountain, a fresh water flowing from the mountains of Lebanon. As you can see, my masculinity is throbbing for you. I would like to see you naked with vagina touch in video, please. Thank you for being a strong woman, Vladimir Putin. That boy has a way with words. I'm so jealous, I joked to Gail. He must be good at reading my mind because it sounds like he is speaking for the both of us. It sounds like he is feeling a lot better. Despite the scare with our brain-to-brain communications, I am feeling a lot better too, especially now that I am able to write to you without fear. I wanted you to know that my email is still secure. The Jesuits don't even know about it. So if you ever have anything extra private that you'd like Vladimir and I to read or see, you can send it there safely. I heaved a sigh of relief. I was back on our shimmering mountain. I could still write my Gail. Anyway, my dear, therein is my very long-awaited update. I hope I haven't neglected you too much during this time. When are you going to meet with your mother? I know you've wanted to do law school for a long time. You've talked about it for years. Gail often mentioned her interest in law in our brain-to-brain communications. As always, I wish you the best of luck pursuing your passions and your dreams. Keep me updated. Good night, my sweet wife. Have a very good day tomorrow. Your husband, Brent Spiner. I saw Gail at work at Walmart, and after she got off, she went to the bathing suit section and bought a black and white striped tiger bikini bathing suit. She draped lace over herself in it and danced gracefully to songs like Love is a Many-Splendored Thing while making her sexy video for Vladimir. She said she had trouble uploading her videos to our private email, so she posted them publicly at YouTube. I remember from the past how Gail often had issues with her screaming and nagging mother. It seemed the Jesuits were now finding a way to get back at us for our daring. All night, as I lay in my bed, the alarm kept going off at my house. With every shriek from that alarm, it felt like our shimmering mountain was having an earthquake. I was unable to get a decent night's rest. And now, they took Gail's mother hostage. The clone of Gail's mother called Gail on her phone. You late for cleaning. What's your problem? You know you owe me for all the help I give you over the years. She screamed so loud on Gail's phone it probably made Gail's ears tingle. It was true that Gail's mother kept Gail from homelessness in 2001, right after Gail's divorce, because I was unable to marry Gail at that time. Vladimir had less luck than myself at helping Gail, it seemed. It was November 8, 2004, 1:30 p.m., and Gail had just lost cable at Pentagon Garden Apartments, where she had just moved to in July 2004, and was outside and noticed a tow truck pulled up next to her 1999 Plymouth Voyager. If she wasn't outside, she wouldn't have even seen her car being towed. She needed the car to transport herself to her new job at Walmart. She had moved out of her screaming and nagging mother's home in July 2004, very shortly after she got her job at Walmart in March 2004. Gail ran down to the man who was about to tow her car. What are you doing? Your car is being repossessed, and you can't get the car because your payments are not current. The man opened her car's front hood and did something to the engine, so that even though Gail refused to give him her car keys, he was able to tow it. Gail had a hook on her steering wheel to prevent theft. The man refused to give Gail his name, phone number, or the name of his towing company. Her car's tires left skid marks in her apartment's parking lot as the tow truck led it away. Gail thought that Vladimir Putin had paid off what was owed on her car because she couldn't afford car payments. In fact, Gail's mother, in January 2003, prevented Gail's car from being towed once before. At that time, Gail's mother saw it in the parking lot of her mother's home at 3200 Westland Court in Melbourne, Florida. Gail's mom gave Gail the money for what was owed on the car to pacify Chrysler Financial then. Gail called the police from her cell phone out in the parking lot and tried to get identifying information on the tow truck. But the truck had no license plate and no identifying information other than a phone number on a flap in front of a tire, which Gail read out loud to the police on her cell phone. She was also upset because the tow guy also went off with some of her favorite music cassettes, her German and Russian language tapes, and her Bible that she left in the car. "You're a thief and a criminal," she yelled to him. At the time, she had a stomach virus, needed money for the dentist, and had just seen the doctor for an infected eyelid. "There's nothing I can do. This is a civil matter," the police officer told her on the phone as her van was being towed. Gail ran into her apartment and called Chrysler Financial at 1-800-561-5805. "The only way you can get your car back is if you make the entire payment for the car." "Why didn't you give me a notice that you planned to tow my car?" "We couldn't give you a notice because you are under bankruptcy protection." Gail was granted Bankruptcy Chapter 7 in 2002. "What? I want something in writing that states my car is not paid off because I thought my car had been paid off by Vladimir Putin. I want something in writing as proof that my car has not been paid off, and if that's the case, I will make the car payments." "You will be getting something in the mail that will state that your car has not been paid off, but we can't make a statement that Vladimir Putin has not paid off your car." Apparently, Vladimir did make the payoff for Gail's car, but the Jesuits were playing like this never happened. In fact, Vladimir showed up to Gail's mom and offered her money for her care of Gail around 2003. But Gail's mom forgot all about it and was put under brain control to forget it or got switched out with her clone. The Jesuits would make sure Vladimir Putin could never pay off Gail's car or give her financial support, just like they thwarted me from trying to give Gail $1 million through Seattle's Cairo News in 2000, right after Gail told me she planned to divorce her husband to be with me. You cannot have your car back unless the total payoff for the car is received all at once for the whole amount of about $2,000. "But I need my car to go to work. How can I pay off the car if I can't keep my job?" "There is no way you will get your car back in time for work tomorrow. How much is needed to pay it off?" "I can't tell you how much the payoff is right now on the phone, but it's estimated to be about $2,065.34. You can call the Russian president and have him call us at 1-800-561-5805, extension 7024, to state that your car has been paid off and to deal with the matter." Gail didn't have a direct line to Vladimir Putin, so she called the Russian embassy at 202-232-6020. Someone with a strong Russian accent answered, which Gail thought was strange, because in her conspiracy law, they had the Germans in charge of the Russian embassy in Washington, D.C. "Please contact Vladimir Putin and tell him to take care of my car. It's been towed and Vladimir paid it off." The Russian man was polite, but dismissed Gail as a crazy lady. "My name is Gail Schuler, and here's my phone number." The Russian hung up on her. Gail then called the bus service, but the Jesuits had messed up the online information about bus schedules, and it seemed the buses wouldn't work for her. So she hired an escort service for a week at the cost of $75. The man who towed her car called her at 2 p.m. on November 8th. "So you're the one who accused me of being a thief and a crook." "Yeah, that's what you are. You went off with my Bible and tapes." "I'll make it worse for you. If you want your stuff, you will have to present ID and pay $50. She put a notice up next to her time clock at her Walmart job that she needed a ride to work. Nobody at work signed up to help her. Gail felt like everybody deserted her. On November 12, 2004, she got a notice in the mail entitled, "Notice After Repossession or Voluntary Surrender, Bankruptcy." Her van was to be sold at an auction on November 24, 2004. She wrote Chrysler a letter and accused them of breaching their contract with Vladimir Putin and reminded them that she did not voluntarily surrender her car to them. The Jesuits made Vladimir very sick at this time, and Vladimir even appeared to be under some sort of brain control. Finally, Gail decided to give up on Vladimir being able to help her. On November 15, 2004, she called Chrysler Financial for an update, and after getting the runaround and calling several numbers, finally learned about her car. Your car is going to be moved to the Orlando auction to be set up for auction today. Oh no! That was an hour drive from where Gail lived. No! I will pay the car off today. To get your car, you owe us $2,067.58 plus the $300 for storage the past couple days. We will only accept cash. Gail called her mother. Miss Sal drove Gail to 2498 Lineberry Lane in Malabar to get her vehicle before it left for Orlando. As they drove up to the shabby location that looked like a deserted lot, a man with dark hair and looking rather unshaven sat outside in a chair at a table underneath a canopy. Miss Sal, noting the shabby area where Gail's van was, surveyed the area as her car pulled up. "That man looked like a criminal," Miss Sal said, eyeing the area suspiciously. Miss Sal handed Gail the cash she needed and waited in the car, while Gail walked to the man who sat in a chair underneath a tent canopy at a table. The man eyed Gail with a vicious gleam. Gail approached the man who sat in a chair in this deserted lot, filled with repossessed vehicles apparently. She saw her blue 1999 Plymouth Voyager van was still there. Gail handed him the cash, which he slowly counted out bill by bill, holding each bill up to the light. "Got to inspect it to make sure it's not counterfeit," he snidely remarked. Now the vehicle was paid off, and Gail had the title. "You need to clean at my house to pay me back for this," Gail's mom said. "That's fine," Gail said. Ironically, we had tried to pay back to Miss Sal all the money Gail owed her, but she always forgot about it. "I refuse to deal with you when you're like this," Gail said to her mother, irritated, on July 27, 2011. "Therefore, I've canceled my cleaning appointment with you for today and will do it next week." Then Gail hung up on her mother, who was ranting and raving like an earthquake spewing lava volcano all over Gail's apartment. The phone rang again and kept ringing, but Gail refused to answer the phone. Finally, the Miss Sal clone left a message on Gail's answering machine. I heard it through our wiretaps. "I'm through with you. You owe me money right now for all the financial help I gave you over the years. I want $100 a month from you at once to pay me back for all the help I give you. You owe me $2,000 total. Please send out law enforcement on this right away and make sure my real mother is okay," Gail said to me on July 27, 2011. "As you know, my mother's clone is the biggest reason you have not been able to give me my writing income or to meet me. Right now she's ringing my phone off the hook and I'm ignoring her. I hope they haven't killed my real mother. Get on this right away." Gail gave me more details. "This is definitely my mother's clone, and she's meaner than usual. Arrest her and try her at the Nuremberg war crimes trial with possible death penalty. I've been informed brain to brain that my real mother has been seriously injured. Get our best doctors in her, and for God's sake, get rid of my mother's clone. I've canceled my cleaning appointment with this clone because she is a dangerous woman and my life is in danger when I'm around her. I'm not taking any chances, especially now that the Jesuits have become more aggressive against us." "I talked to Vladimir Putin today," I told Gail. "He is very busy working on this. From what we know, your real mother has been taken hostage. The reason we are unable to snag her clone is that every time we are close to nabbing it, they threaten death on your real mother. Our last attempt was close, and as a result, they injured her as a warning to us. They are very serious about their threats. We are afraid of what they might do if we did capture and execute a clone. And for your mother's sake, we have been as cautious as possible about this. These Jesuits are smart. They will eventually release your mother and switch her out with the clone again, but we don't know when. The best we know to do right now is to fight until they give up and abandon their current mission, which seems to be keeping you from going to law school. Our teams are investigating the matter very seriously and working on this. Good God! The Jesuits were hitting us like a tidal wave. I will let you know if we turn up any more information. Stay safe, my Catherine the Great, Brent Spiner. As if that wasn't enough. When Gail went to her YouTube channel to write me, Lori McBride greeted her at her YouTube channel, which was where Gail and I were doing most of our written communication. The alarm system around my house that Gail recommended and Vladimir implemented apparently only ignited Jesuit fury, so that Jesuit lava was no longer spilling over the side of the Jesuit mountain onto us. It was shooting high in the sky and towering over us and spewing feces lava all over the place with fumes that stunk to high heaven. That horrible Lori started her own YouTube channel to counter Gail's and sent Gail a friend request. On July 27, 2011, Lori uploaded a video to her new YouTube channel that blared her lyrics. Lori blasted her proud and violent lyrics onto Gail, hoping Gail would shrink back in fear and stay in line, as Lori accomplished with me. The opening music sounded like a death knell. We are God's Marines. Be part of something bigger. orderofthejesuits.com. Our numbers are many. We are always watching. A photo of Lori McBride glared across the screen, a big scowl on her face. A smiling face of Billy Mays flashed with a running script saying, "Target eliminated." A smiling face of Michael Jackson flashed with a running script saying, "Target eliminated." A smiling face of Princess Diana flashed with a running script saying, "Target eliminated." A photo of a furious, scowling Lori McBride flashed saying, "Agent McBride." The IHS Jesuit symbol photo appeared next with a clash of symbols. Then an ominous voice repeated over and over, orderofthejesuits.com. The chanting and pulsating music seemed to pound death on all of us. Lastly, a smiling photo of Gail flashed. This was the same photo Gail used on the back cover of her novel Silver Skies. The unfeeling and mechanical Jesuit voice repeated like a cold iceberg that loomed large over all of us. We will defeat Catherine the Great. We will defeat Catherine the Great. We will defeat Catherine the Great. Gail decided not to respond to Lori directly. Her David against Goliath response was a YouTube video that she entitled Vladimir Putin's Catherine the Great Responds to Killer Jesuit Lori McBride. "They have heightened their attack against me," Gail said in her YouTube video response to Lori's video. Lori McBride, their top agent, has made a YouTube video. Gail played their disgusting video in the background while she responded. "This is my response to that video." Gail held a huge Bible and lifted it up with a big smile on her face. She read quickly and firmly, "I read from the King James Bible, from 1 Samuel. And David spake to the man that stood by him, saying, What shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel?" With determination blaring in her eyes, she roared out the next words, "For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living God?" Her words roared out like a waterfall. Gail refused to get off her shimmering mountain. She stood high, holding the banner of true love. And the people answered him after this matter, saying, "So shall it be done to the man that killeth him." And Elias, his eldest brother, heard when he spake to the man. And Elias's anger was kindled against David. He said, Why camest thou down hither? And with whom hast thou left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know thy pride and the naughtiness of thine heart, for thou art come down that thou mightest see the battle. My Gail was literally King David now, and she replied with defiance. And David said, What have I now done? Is there not a cause? And he turned from him toward another, and spake after the same manner. And the people answered him again after the former manner. And when the words were heard which David spake, they rehearsed them before Saul, and he sent for him. And David said to Saul, Let no man's heart fail because of him. Gail raised her voice with defiance. Thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine, the Jesuit order. And Saul said to David with scorn, Thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth. And David said unto Saul, Thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock, and I went out after him, and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God. Gail pointed her finger to make her point. David said, Moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion, and out of the paw of the bear, Gail's words roared out like a waterfall, He will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. Gail's face looked like the fierce defender of our shimmering mountain. And Saul said unto David, Go, and the Lord be with thee. And Saul armed David with his armor, and he put a helmet of brass upon his head. And also he armed him with a coat of mail. And David girded his sword upon his armor, and he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. And David put them off him. And he took his staff in his hand, and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in a shepherd's bag which he had, even in a script. Gail raised her Bible, and his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine, the Jesuit order. And the Philistine came on, and drew near unto David, and the man that bare the shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about, Gail laid her Bible down, and with scorn on her face said, Let me rewind on the Jesuit website, so you can hear their lovely music in the background. The ominous Jesuit chants were in the background, but Gail rose up from her bed where she sat, with a smile on her face, as if to say to the Jesuits, Bring it on. She returned and plopped herself back onto her bed and smiled with scorn. They got my picture up at the end. With a casual smile and nod, she continued, They want to scare us all off because they plan on killing me, she said, as if discussing what she ate for breakfast. Now she screamed with a big smile, I dare you to kill me, Jesuits. Go ahead. Gail was willing to die defending her mountain. Let's continue, she said, as if flippantly discussing her boring schedule. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him. Gail raised her eyes in carefree scorn, for he was a youth and ruddy, and of a fair countenance. And the Philistine said unto David with arrogance, as if he could beat the pipsqueak in a second, Am I a dog, that thou comest to me with staves? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. And the Philistine said to David, Come to me. Gail raised her arm, imitating the Philistine, And I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air, to the beasts of the field. Like a waterfall of courage, Gail's words roared out. Then said David to the Philistine, Thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield. Gail's eyes were fearless and defiant. Yeah, we know you're the richest organization on earth, Jesuits, and you've got numbers. Now the words roared out fast and hard. But you're evil and wicked, and God is against you. Now Gail was yelling, But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied. Gail was screaming out her words in fierce determination. This day will the Lord deliver thee into my hand, and I will smite thee, and take thine head from thee. And I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. And all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, but the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands. Her words came out fast and hard. And it came to pass, when the Philistine arose and came and drew nigh to meet David, that David hasted and ran toward the army to meet the Philistine. Gail began making slinging motions with her left arm, and David put his hand in his bag and took thence a stone and slung it. She threw her left arm forward as if slinging a sling stone, and smote the Philistine in his forehead. She knocked back as if she was the Philistine and had just been struck by David's sling stone, that the stone sunk into his forehead, and he fell upon his face to the earth. With calm and fierce defiance, Gail continued, So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a sword. Maybe I'm going around with a car without air conditioning, and you've taken all my money from me, but I have God on my side. Gail pointed the finger from her left hand back at herself with fierceness. Gail's teeth growled through her mouth as she yelled, I dare you to kill me, Jesuits. Go ahead and do it. Now Gail took on a casual air with fierceness. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a sword. Gail lifted her Bible. I got the King James Bible on my side, Jesuits. David slew him, and there was no sword in the hand of David. Therefore David ran and stood upon the Philistine, and took his sword, and drew it out of its sheath thereof, and slew him, and cut off his head therewith. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled. Gail leaned forward with a smile on her face that seemed to say, Bring it on. That's what I have to say to you, Jesuits. Yes, I have Catherine the Great, but I've also got King David. Don't forget about that. And David beat Goliath the Philistine, and you're making fun of me because all I have is 5 little stones. Gail swayed her head back and forth as if all the angels in heaven and God himself were by her side, and with a gleam of triumph on her face, But I've got God on my side, and you don't have God on your side. Gail assumed an air of surety. I feel sorry for you. Even if you kill me, boy, you're going to have hell to pay. You are going to have hell to pay. Let me replay their video one more time, she said with gusto. They got a picture blasting up there. Catherine the Great. Gail leaned into her video and smiled a fierce smile. I dare you to kill me, Jesuit. Go ahead and do it. You don't scare me a bit. One more time, with a mocking tone repeating what the Jesuits said on their YouTube video. We will defeat Catherine the Great. Yeah, you might defeat Catherine the Great, but you're not going to defeat God Almighty, because he's on my side. She pointed at her audience. He isn't on your side. She had a big, daring smile. Have fun, Jesuits. You know what? I know where you're going. You're going straight to hell, unless you accept the Lord Jesus as your Savior. It's not by works that you're saved, for by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. Gail became calm and quoted the Bible as if she was a walking Bible encyclopedia. And you're twisting the Bible and teaching that you have the right to build a kingdom for the Roman Catholic Church. Those promises belong to the nation of Israel. They don't belong to the Roman Catholic Church. You need to rightly divide the word of truth. The King James Bible's the inspired word of God. God is on my side, and I feel sorry for you. I leaned back in admiration of her towering courage. Way to go, I told her on July 28, 2011. Wow, you are so very brave. Ever since you made that video calling out Laurie McBride and the Jesuits, the alarms have stopped going off outside my house. I didn't hear a single alarm all night. I was finally able to get some rest. Thank you so much, my sweet wife. It's like you took a stand for the whole world in that video, and of course your devoted husbands. I checked out the Laurie McBride channel and saw the video you mentioned. Boy, is it scary. But your video is a lot scarier. Way to show that bitch hoe you mean business. I needed to let Gail know that Vladimir wasn't happy with her response to his request for a nude video from her. Apparently, Vladimir felt she was only daring against the Jesuits, but not in her love for Vladimir. In other news, Vladimir Putin seemed very upset today when I talked to him. This whole thing has been getting very intense for him lately, and it sounds like he's taking it rougher than usual. Here is what he wrote me today. Prude Gabrielle, your husband has been fighting Jesuits without rest of body-mind. I fight uphill in the discipline tirelessly against Jesuit assholes. I dedicate my soul to you protect. Your mother is saved as I effected a plan to unleash her. Regrettably, she experienced only minor injury. Today, I learn of discovery Jesuit underwater city military compound. I must decide travel under the ocean using submarine nuclear and maybe kill many thousands of men, women, and baby Jesuits. Shall I? On another subject, my victories and decisions is brought to ache when you reject me not send very private, secret, sexy, naked video. I have the indigo eggs at this point as I need the release. It is so hard without the real sexy time, and if only I see nipples and vagina, I feel better. Am I not important? Mixed up sexual lover, Vladimir Putin. Poor man, I told Gail. He's such a strong, manly alpha. It's hard to believe he can be so sensitive under that steely, macho presence. I imagine it's made worse having to deal with the horrors he does these days. Having to decide on whether or not to nuke an entire city can make any leader edgy no matter how strong. It's the hardest decision any national leader can make. It puts him under the scrutiny of the world, you know. It's an extreme pressure cooker. I think he is really vulnerable and needs our support and encouragement more than ever right now. I'm not in a position to make those kinds of decisions. It's hard for me to even fathom. I was so grateful to Vladimir for all his help and wanted Gail to understand his position and not be offended by what he said to her. He too was defending our mountain the best he could and made it so that we could still live on the mountain. The one thing we have never been able to see with our eyes has been your beautiful form. I guess Vladimir just feels slighted because you won't go all the way for him. Me, I don't take it personally that you don't feel comfortable to show us your physical body. I keep my feelings to myself, no matter how hard it may be. It is pretty kinky after all. Not a lot of women could handle something like that. But Vladimir is such an incredibly sensitive man. Raunchy he may seem at times. It's not just sex to him. It's making love. I guess he feels like he's been denied your intimacy. He's the kind of sensitive yet conquerous man that seeks a very vivid reward for his strong devotion. I would still adore my Gail, even if she didn't want to give us a nude video of herself, since we couldn't marry her for real. And I decided to move on to another subject now. On another note, I'm so glad that Vladimir was able to rescue your mother. I hope she is doing well and your relationship can run its normal course again. I think that is the most important thing. As long as you and your family are safe, that is the best we can hope for. Obviously, the Jesuits don't want to see you gain power by becoming an attorney. We will get you there. We will find a way. With just as much love, your devoted husband, Brent Spiner. Gail sent us a bunch of nude videos of herself and tried to reassure Vladimir that she was standing by him. I could tell this was not her usual thing. I thought she did it with class and that the curves of her body were like shimmering jewels that glowed with beauty and light. She played music like Love is a Many Splendored Thing in the background. Gail's shimmering mountain still shimmered, and I ran Gail's jewels over me. But the mutants were climbing up our slopes and screeching vulgarities at us. But we would die to defend our mountain.
In a world of secrets, where darkness reigns, there's a warrior rising, breaking free from chains. She's Gail. battles and trials.